It's Wednesday, January 8th, 2020, and I just got my testosterone prescription back, or refilled. It was supposed to be not available till the 13th, but we got it today. It's the 8th, and they were able to comes in a bag, and it's your ID stuff, and that's the bottle it comes in. The packaging, see that stuff? Okay, so that's a label. I was able to refill it 5 days before I thought I would, which is great because I've been feeling really low mood and kind of sad and just lonely and not kind of distracted with it, and so I'd like wake up and my dreams are I remember all my dreams, and they're very vivid, and they've all been kind of like had this kind of somber mood about them. Usually in my dreams I am with a bunch of friends, like usually 4 or 5 people, and we're usually going, like getting in a car and going to some event, and or going out for dinner or just exploring the city. And when I return home from the thing, it's kind of a strange dreams I have. When I return home is usually when I wake up from the dream, so that's kind of interesting. This is my dog, Jay, and he wants a squeaky toy, so I'm gonna put it somewhere else. But kind of let your head go. Somber lately, and not as joyful as they usually are, and I'll like wake up from it and just kind of remember the state I'm in my life, or the stage I'm in, and that I don't have a lot of people I'm connected with, and just really start feeling very sad, and sometimes I've been crying, so which is really unusual for me actually, and it's for me a direct result of not having my testosterone, which I've been off of obviously for over a week, almost 2 weeks now. So glad to have the refill, and I'm going to do my shot today, and wanted to talk about how that process was for me to refill, because it was interesting in that I've been working with my doctor through an online service. I was able to message her, so I contacted my pharmacy to kind of a few times over the course of the first week on different days to see if they got the prescriptions back in. When I went in to refill it, it was on back order until the 13th. So I just want to show you, it has a cap like that, and you just like pop it off with your thumb. I'm gonna just prep this. And this is what the bottle looks like. Sorry, can't focus, but you get the idea. It's very tiny. So I inquired at the pharmacy. They told me the refill date would be the 13th. They suggested try another pharmacy, and even to call around. So if I happened to be near a pharmacy, I would check in and see if they had any available. And then I started calling different shoppers, like farther and farther away from where I live, and inquired, and they're able to give this information over the phone, which is great. And I just called in and said, hey, I usually use a different shopper's pharmacy, and I'm looking for a prescription. And he said, well, what are you looking for? And it's called Testosterone. And are you able to tell me if you have that Testosterone in stock? And they didn't. Every place I phoned didn't have it in stock, and was expecting the order to be filled on the 13th. The same as I even tried pharmacies other than the Shoppers brand name, and they also didn't. But so then I called my original pharmacy back and asked if they had. I used to be on Depot Testosterone, and I found that For myself, it gave me very bad, deep cystic acne, and I don't know if that was an effect of new hairs coming in or just the testosterone solution, because it is suspended in an oil and you're injecting that directly into your muscle tissue, into your body. So it's a little different than, say, ingesting. I ingest olive oil every single day, but it's never given me an acne problem before I was on testosterone. Um, but injecting, um, this one's called ethanate, and the other kind of solution suspension is citonate or something like. Sorry, I don't know the pronunciation. One is suspended in cottonseed oil, and the other is testosterone suspended in sesame seed oil. And I found this one, which is more concentrated, so it's a smaller vial. The other one I was taking is called depot testosterone. It was twice as large of a vial, and you would have to inject twice as much. I take 0.5 cc, and the other kind I would have to inject 1 cc. And you would also get a different amount. This is 5 milliliters suspended in a 200 milliliter solution, whereas the other one would be 10 milliliters suspended in a 400 milliliters. I'm not sure, but it was double the size of this vial. So when I called the pharmacy back after a little over a week of being off tea, because I was feeling such low energy, low drive, low mood, which I still feel right now, it just makes me want to sleep all the time and be sad and cry. So I inquired. I'm like, do you have depot testosterone? Do you have androgel? Like, do you have these other alternatives that I can use, because it's really affecting me? And they told me that also the depot testosterone was on back order, and they did have androgel, and they would look into faxing my doctor request for a prescription, which they can do through the pharmacy. So you don't necessarily have to go speak to your doctor for a new prescription if you need the same prescription but a substitute, like a different company. So this is Delatestrol by Valiant, and the other one is Depot Testosterone by Pfizer. That would be a substitute for this prescription. Because they were both on back order, they were going to ask about androgel, which is a gel solution. It looks like a big Band-Aid. A friend of mine takes that I used to know, and it was just a big, it looked like when you stop smoking and you go on the patch and you put a nicotine patch on your arm. It looked like that, just like kind of a large size bandage. And what it is in the bandage is androgel, which is a topical dermalogical solution that absorbs into your skin, much like the Nicorette patch solution, and then that then goes into your bloodstream rather than injecting the oil directly into your muscle and then that entering your bloodstream through your muscle. So we were saying about that, and they did have it, but when I inquired, I'm also a person with a disability. So ODSP has a program called the Extended Health Benefits Program, which is, it's in their directives if you want to look for the exact legal information. Directives 9.10. They're like a law that they have to follow regarding healthcare and what people on ODSP have access to. And it's a good idea to look into if you're also not just a trans person, but a person with a disability. Because it can give you access to other services that you might require that you didn't know you had access to. So I have a back injury. Because of that, my doctor can write a prescription for physiotherapy. Physiotherapy is usually $90 a session. Depends where you go. I'm in a large city, downtown Toronto, so here it's about $90, probably $100 these days, because I haven't checked prices for 2 or 3 years. Probably $100 a session now, and But because I'm on disability support, that program pays for physiotherapy. It also pays for things like orthotics, mandatory prescription costs, and glasses and hearing aids, both of which I need to fill, actually, and orthotics and compression socks if you need. I have sciatic pain, so I recently had an appointment for refilling those prescriptions. So anyhow, we're looking into if the extended health benefits program covered androgel, and it does not apparently. They thought it did at the pharmacy, but my doctor says it isn't. It's only available to people such as those who have AIDS and have low testosterone because of those sorts of medical conditions. And the person I knew who was trans, who was taking androgel, actually did try deletestrol or testosterone, and it reacted with their body in such a way that their liver couldn't process it properly because they also are a person with cancer. So because of the cancer, they had to switch to androgel. And it's also much more expensive if you don't have coverage. It's probably over 5 years ago, it was $140, $150 for a prescription refill. But that wasn't covered, so we then found a pharmacy a number of blocks from where I live, but they still had depot testosterone available. So a prescription is being sent to them to have my prescription filled there, because they can't transfer the medication to a different pharmacy. We found out that I can't transfer the extended health benefits coverage for this prescription to the other pharmacy and to the other prescription. And I called and inquired at the pharmacy if it was because of the pharmacy location or because it's the same medication but a different prescription or a different company. So it requires a different prescription. It would say prescription for depot testosterone rather than what this is, which is deletestrol. And because of that, it being a different prescription, we would then have to apply for extended health benefits program for that prescription. And so then I asked, well, how long does that take? And they said anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. So if I wasn't able to get this, then I would be forced to wait 4 to 6 weeks, or they were unsure at the pharmacy if I could pay for it up front and then be reimbursed at a later time for the necessary medication I needed. And they suggested I talk to my ODSP service worker about that to inquire if it could be retroactive. Which is kind of unfortunate because not every person on ODSP has an active, and yeah, of course the next thing I asked is how much does it cost? So I was told it was about $70. So to have an extra $70 on hand when... Anyhow, I'm very lucky that this came in because it is covered under my plan. I don't have to pay the costs for it, and I don't have to pay upfront for a different prescription and then, wait for several months. It's usually 3 to 4 months to hear back from any application to disability support about being reimbursed or having retroactive fees paid back. So yeah, that's my story about filling this. Actually, it's not the first time that injectable testosterone has been on back order. I've experienced it one other extreme time, extreme in the way that I had to be off of testosterone unwillingly for, I think again it was over a week, maybe 2 weeks. That happened about 3 years ago, and I think it had ran out. Oh, it ran out also when I first started taking it, within the first year of taking it. but I was able to refill. My prescription had already been submitted before it went into back order, so I was able to get one of the last of the prescriptions going out before they were completely out of stock. So I was really lucky then to not have to go off of my medication for a time. Um, I don't know why it keeps happening. It's interesting that it does. I've been on T since 2011 or 12, so it seems to be every 4 years. So right when I started, and then three or 4 years ago, and then this year. So it's interesting that that happens, and I think it's super important to make sure you keep refilling your prescriptions on time, like the exact, mine's every 65 days, so the exact date that it's due for refill, have it refilled, because you never know when it'll go out of stock. If you're very susceptible to the negative side effects of being off testosterone, I am susceptible to low sex hormones in general. Because of my age, I'm too old to create my own hormones in my body, so it can really affect you emotionally, energy, and drive wise. So, yeah, next will be the prep and injection. If you don't want to see that, if you're squeamish about needles, please click away. But if you like the video and information, or have comments or questions, feel free to ask those in the comments box and click the subscribe and give me a thumbs up. It really helps. All right, have a great week, and next will be the injection prep. So I keep all this stuff together in one bag. Keep my testosterone in there. This is my syringe plunger. The uptake tip is an 18 gauge. It's a thicker gauge to bring the oil into the syringe, and the injection tip is a smaller gauge. There it is, a 22 gauge injection tip, and it's a lure lock system, which means it locks onto the barrel. The tip locks onto the barrel, so it's important when you pop these open to just not touch them. Locked it on before even taking it out of the wrapper. Just keeps everything nice and sterile. So that's that. And then I take the tea and I warm it up between my hands. And if anybody has holiday suggestions or wants to share what they did over the holidays, that'd be a great way to start a discussion in the comments. And so, again, pop that open, don't touch it, put it on the lure lock, take the wrapper off. So I did try to get out as much as possible. I went for long walks with my dog, and I went down to the harborfront area, or, well, it's called Bentway. It's down by the waterfront in Fort York. That's in downtown Toronto, if you're not familiar. They had a nice skating rink area. I also worked on New Year's Eve because, well, I was trying to make plans, but it kind of fell through. And, I decided to work, and I got to see some cool stuff when I was out cycling. Otherwise, I would not have gone near it, come across it, or gone out, especially to see Nathan Phillips Square, or to go down at Union Station, and they had again another ice rink set up where they put water over the concrete and you could skate on top of that. They had a big Christmas tree and lights and a chill area with like a wooden, it's made to look like a wood cabin or something where they're serving like tea or hot chocolate or whatever. That's kind of neat, like right in the front like entrance way of like outside of the building, but in front of the Union Station, which is a big kind of open long building. That was cool to see, and then to be around the waterfront and stuff. Yeah, and then I watched live feeds on YouTube of New York City's ball drop and Paris fireworks show. I didn't know that they had this massive fireworks show. Just it was like just so beautiful. And yeah, let me know what you did. Next will be the injection. I'm just gonna prep the skin area, so it's done in the gluteus, upper gluteus, which is your bum muscle, or in your thigh muscle. So I'm going to try in the leg. If that doesn't work, I'll probably do the buttocks area. So when you do your injection in your leg, you see this line, that's the ILC band. So that's halfway down your outside your leg. So your thigh, you want to go somewhere within this area, the outer quarter. And that's because there's a lot of nerve endings that come and wrap around your thigh this way. And also in the higher section. But I find if you go too high, like sometimes you have a bone protrusion up here. So you don't want to be too high. You want to be in the upper part, but I don't recommend going too high up. So just press out a little drop, and that's what it looks like on the syringe. So just drew back a little bit and pushed it in more. I think that's everything. That's it, and I did the injection right here, and it ends up just being a little red dot. That's it. So, yeah, have a great week, and don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up, like, and leave me a comment if you want. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. All right, see you later.